Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty. For tonight's episode, we've got a special two-man presentation. I am Austin, with you as always, and with us, our incredible, insatiable leader, So Easy Mode. How you doing tonight, Easy?
I'm doing good. I don't know about insatiable. That's I
You're a
guess I'm
man.
hungry for lore. Is that what we're saying?
You're a man of many thirsts, is what I'm
Mm,
saying. Yes, yes, not
thirsts.
not all to be satiated, and also to remain ambiguous.
Yes, and hopefully not too many of those are traps.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm excited, and today we have another fun-filled sporting event. We're going to talk about one of the other popular sporting events in the Sixth World that is unique to the Sixth World, and that is going to be combat biking.
Ooh, I am excited. I'm stoked to talk about combat biking.
I am stoked to tell you about combat biking. But as we go forward, before we get too far into combat biking, if you guys are really enjoying these episodes and you would like to hear them early, then come on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/critical_hits. And for just $5 a month, you'll get shouted out at the end of our Sinless episodes. You'll get to hear these wonderful lore podcasts early, and you can submit your questions to us for all of our future Worm Talk episodes. How is that not just so worth it?
I don't understand why everybody's not subscribed right now. Just
I
go
know.
do it.
Just do it. Do it.
And also, it is appreciated and thanked.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you.
And not being forced upon you at all.
I'm not just gonna shout at you like Shia LaBeouf. Do it. All right. Well, let's dive into combat biking. We have to go back to the early age of 2013.
Ooh,
That's where we're starting.
the before times.
Yes, the before, just after the awakening, but still considered the before. This interesting sport comes to us from a guy named Vernon Purdhome in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
That makes a lot of sense as to where we would have gotten combat biking from. That checks out.
He was trying to come up with a way to pump up his gimmicky ailing speedway. You know, people not wanting to come to the track anymore. How do you get butts in the seats?
You can only watch so many demolition derbies before it just becomes cars crashing into each other, you know.
Or monster truck rallies before it's just cars crushing cars.
Yeah, exactly.
No offense to the people that enjoy that. Like, I understand. Monster truck rallies are pretty cool.
I mean, if you don't even have Truckosaurus, what are you really
I was
offering
gonna
us?
say, you gotta have Truckosaurus. So what does Vernon do? Well, he decides to hire a down and out bunch of motorcycle daredevils. Basically anybody that had a motorcycle and was down on their luck and needed the new yen.
Yeah, I was gonna say motorcycle daredevils is just a fancy way of saying people that own motorcycles and are willing to make $20. Like,
yeah. He staged a game involving the motorcycles, stunt riding, padded clubs, and paintball guns. Yeah, he hyped it up over Trid and radio to try to get people interested in the local area, and somehow it caught on. And he started to joke with the people that were coming to watch this, saying that it was a combat cyclists league.
Okay.
He just, as on a whim, on a joke, just goes, yeah, that's what this is called.
Yeah, right. You nailed it.
Stick the landing.
Yeah, right.
Well, a major sports net does a 5-minute filler on the combat biking phenomenon, and it catches attention.
Mm-hmm.
The next combat biking event that he puts on, a go gang called the Maulers show up,
Okay.
saying that they're a combat biker team.
Uh-huh.
And proceeds to beat the ever-loving dreck out of his team that he's put together
Okay.
of, quote, daredevils.
Of daredevils, yes, of hired trained professionals, yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The boss of this go gang, the Maulers, whose name is Charles Mangler Patterson,
Yeah, that checks out.
lets Vernon know that for a modest payment,
Mm.
the Maulers would stay away so that he could
Mm-hmm.
get back on to business as usual. So basically, this is a whole shakedown.
Yeah, right, of course.
We're the real combat bikers. Now pay us so that we'll go away.
It reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons where they make the motorcycle gang. They call themselves the Hells Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actual gang shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's what's happening here.
I mean, this is the opportune time to say, hey, Simpsons did it.
So now I'm just gonna go ahead and imagine that this leader of the gang is just John Goodman, because that's who it was in that episode. So for the rest of this episode, the leader of this gang is just John Goodman in my head. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Leader of the Maulers is, in fact, voiced by John Goodman. There we
Is
go.
none other than beloved actor John Goodman.
Vernon, being the astute businessman that he is, completely ignores their offer and goes to hire his own go gang to take the place of his daredevil crew.
Mm-hmm.
He dresses them up in uniforms and names them the Red Devils.
Okay.
Gives them unpadded weapons and replaces the paintball guns with riot weapons firing rubber bullets.
Okay. Yeah, up in the stakes. I like it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When the Maulers show back up, the Red Devils smear them into paste.
Well, that checks out.
Apparently, according to Vernon, when these two go gangs first showed down with each other, they actually stayed within the rules for about an hour.
Oh, that is pretty impressive.
Before things go horribly out of control and the maiming and the murdering starts.
Well, it can only go for so long. I
Of
just want to know.
course.
I just want to know how long it was in before somebody took like a lead pipe and stuck it in between the spokes on somebody else's bike.
Well, apparently it only took an hour.
About an hour. Yeah, I guess.
About an
Yeah, you
hour.
know what? I guess we have our answer. It's about an hour.
About 1 hour is all it took. Somehow, probably because of the intense violence, the ratings for this hit the national feed and take off.
I mean, I feel like it just takes one person to record it and upload it to YouTube, right? That's how it works, and then it's like,
yeah, that's all you need, and then it's gonna
that's
catch
all
wildfire.
I speaking of in a similar vein, have you seen like, oh god, I can't remember what it was called. It's like the balloon hitting competition that they have, that I think the video that got sent to me was like the world championships that was in Germany, and it's like a rectangular area
Mm-hmm.
that's all enclosed, and then they fill it with a bunch of items. So it's like a sofa, there's a car in there, like bookshelves and stuff, and it's
Okay.
literally just you have to tap the balloon, and then the other person has to tap the balloon, and it's keep the balloon in the air, and the first person to let it touch the ground
Oh my
is the
god.
loser. It is intense. It was so much more intense than I thought it would actually be for that concept, and I was like, this is how it happens. This one person records this one thing you've never heard of and uploads it, and suddenly I'm like, am I gonna buy season tickets to the balloon hit competition as soon as we get, a franchise out here in the States?
Well, really, what's stopping us from doing it right now? Let's get on that.
That's true. We could just get it
We could
started right
just get
now.
it. Yeah, we'll get it franchised right now. I mean, this is the game that you played with your sibling
I've got a
in
car
the
and a
basement.
sofa. I mean, all we need is a rectangular space, man. I've got a car and a sofa. We could do this.
Look, I'm pretty sure we could rent a gym space for however long it takes.
Oof. I like it. I like this. All right, nobody steal this idea. This is TM. TM.
Yeah, it's copyrighted right now. It's
Copyright.
ours.
Copyright. Shadowrunning on empty.
That is ridiculous. But that's how some of those crazy extreme sports get started. I mean,
That's
look
how it
at
works.
have you seen what is it? It's like official tag.
Oh yeah.
That's intense
Yeah.
too. You want some crazy free running.
Yeah, it's like watching competitive parkour, but way more interesting because there's actually stakes to it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
not
waiting.
just it's not just go as fast as you can. It is go
Mhm.
as fast as you can while avoiding everybody else, and it's so much more interesting.
So like it started out one on one. I think there are teams for it now, and the
Yeah, there's
teams are
teams.
so much better.
It's
So much
so
better.
it's so nuts, man. It's so crazy.
These are the kind of crazy sports that we need in our lives right now.
And this is how it happens, man, you know? Same with combat biking. This is all it takes.
People are wanting to take a step away from football for a little bit because of the scary injuries, which totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's
I don't want to just randomly die by being hit just right in the chest.
I want to see the reports 5 years from now about how many professional tag players have CTE. That's what I want
Mm,
to know. If I could
yeah,
see the
yeah.
numbers, please and thank you. Maybe if the numbers are too low, that's why it won't get picked up for being an American sport, you know?
Maybe, maybe. Well, back to combat biking.
Yes.
So Vernon somehow gets this onto the national news feeds, and it takes off to the point where there's actually a news network that runs a serious sports report on it before it turned into a Royal Rumble.
Yep, we call it ESPN 8 the Ocho. It is very beloved. It's got all of your unheard of sport needs covered.
Exactly. But sure enough, Vernon gets a call from a few money men that are corporately connected, and within a year, 1 year, 6 teams were competing nationally.
Sick.
You go from 2 hired go gangs that you're probably paying next to nothing to now it's a national sport and there are
Yeah.
6 teams.
I can only imagine that once it became a national sports, how many more motorcycle daredevils came out of the woodworks, you know, trying to
Oh yeah,
get trying to get
seriously.
hired
Well,
in
not
for
only that, how
this.
many go gangs went and probably tried to get in on it
Yeah,
because that was
right.
what originally started it. So combat biker games started showing up regularly on
Hmm.
on the Trid, and by 2026, the game had grown enough to have league organization, established rules, and major media coverage.
Dang.
So 13 more years after it starts, and we've got league organization, the whole rules, and major media coverage.
Not bad.
No, that's pretty good.
I
That's
just
pretty
I
good.
I just really hope that the dude that owned the auto track had some type of copyright so he could get a piece of that check before, you know, he got corporated out of the whole thing.
We can only hope that Vernon played his cards correctly. He sounds like a pretty smart swindler, street savvy, but once you get into that corporate boardroom, it's a whole different world.
Vernon retired to his riverboat to never be seen again. Some people still say that on still nights you can hear the revving of motorcycle engines coming from the mighty Mississippi.
On those foggy Louisiana nights. In the distance, you can hear a revving of engines and then
Oh, there's old Vernon again.
out there
He,
doing his combat biking out in the swamp, you see.
he's early this time of the year. Normally, he's deeper down the Mississippi by now. I prefer this headcanon for Vernon. I don't want to know what actually happened to Vernon. This is what happened to Vernon.
You know
Vernon
what?
Vernon retired onto his riverboat.
I don't think we get an official statement of what actually happens to Vernon.
Well, we just figured it out.
Yeah, we got it. And if you want, let us know what you think happened to Vernon, dear listener. So from this, we said we got the organized league. This is called the WCCL, the World Combat Cyclist League. Is pro combat biker organization. And of course, despite the name, where it's World Combat Cyclist League, it's primarily a North American operation. Big surprise.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we say World Series, but it's not.
Yeah, right.
So combat biking is a very expensive proposition. You've got the bike manufacturing to sell machines to teams at cost in return for the publicity that they get for showing off their new wheels. One game can eat up a lot of iron, meaning bullets. Those rubber bullets.
And gas, I would imagine.
Yeah, and gas.
I don't know how gas has been affected in the fourth or the sixth world, but I'd have to imagine that that is probably a nice chunk of change that they're spending on every match.
Well, there is the separation of hybriding, where you can do half and half, so you're half electric, half gas. Or you could go full electric, although I don't think you'd get the same power out of your bike doing it that way.
But it depends on, I mean, how important is power to the crux of combat biking? You know,
Well,
like
we will get into those rules so we can make that decision.
That's fair.
Right now, we're just talking about the early costs.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have the bikes itself, which are probably the most expensive part of combat biking.
They have to have like a sponsor, though, right? Like, there's
that's what I'm saying. Manufacturers will want to sell them bikes so that when people are watching, this is the new Yamaha Extra Ninja.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I feel like that would be expensive, but I don't think that would be as expensive as we're making it out to be. That feels like it would be the easy part.
Well,
that's like getting the sponsors.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna sponsorship. It's like getting the sponsors for like NASCAR and shit. You know, it's all
true.
The car manufacturers, because they want the people to see their names on the cars.
And you've got the stickers all over the bikes.
Yeah, and the drivers. Yeah, exactly. That's how it works.
Well, remember, we're talking Sixth World, so of course the players got to get cybered up as well.
Okay, so interesting question that I have. Are there rules against magic in combat biking?
Ooh, let me look very quickly into the idea here of possible magic.
Because I don't think that it would be effective in terms of like an adept. I don't know that they would necessarily be like super good in comparison. I think it would be more of a scenario of like, you know, being able to cast like a magic spell that just will randomly make somebody's bike all of a sudden stop, or like, you know, conjure earth to rise up in front of a rider, so you know they do a front flip over it and then their bike blows up, like, you know.
The bike blows up. That sounds bad.
It's not, I mean, it's probably not great for the person driving that bike for sure, but
I would say it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like there are any rules against it that I'm seeing. Going quickly through the rules, we'll see when we get drilled down into them a little bit if they mention anything. But right now,
there's nothing in the rules.
Nothing in the rules that says it can't be done.
That says a mage can't be a combat biker. The Airbud law.
We were saying players need cyberware. Then you have to build the arena. Oh, then you have to factor in medical costs. Can't forget those.
I mean, I feel like the arena for combat biking would have to be like a multi-purpose arena, though. Like, I don't think unless I'm wrong, I don't feel like combat biking would be something where you would make an arena just for that. It would be like, well, on Tuesdays we have combat biking, and then on Wednesdays the basketball team plays here. You know, like,
oh, the field is much bigger than that.
But we used to have that down here. So our big arena that we had in downtown Phoenix, that is the Phoenix Suns arena. So that's the basketball arena where they play out of. but it also used to be the arena where the Coyotes would play, which is the hockey team. So what
I
so
see.
what
I
so
see.
what they would do is they would have the bottom layer for the ice, and then when it was time for basketball, they would put a covering over the ice and then put out the basketball flooring over the top of that. So then you would just use the same arena for both sports, but you would just have to change it out slightly for whatever's being played that day.
Hmm. I would assume that's probably what you would build so you could have a multi-purpose arena because it just makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, like a multi-purpose arena.
Hmm. But again, all that adds up really fast because then you've
Very
also
true.
got weapons and armor that you have to buy for the team as well.
Yep. Although, again, I'm sure sponsorships help with that. I'm sure that
Probably.
Ares would love to
Oh
be
yeah.
a representative for the official gun of combat biking. Like I could see that very well working out for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Combat biking is incredibly popular on the different news nets
hmm
and commands impressive prices for commercials, pay-per-view, and
mm
ultra close-up coverage from drones.
I like that it's big enough to become a national sport, but they still do pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if the Super Bowl was a pay-per-view event. Like,
Just
yeah, yeah,
gross.
exactly.
Gross.
Like, I have to imagine that that's like the same conceptual thing here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not great.
So the WCCL is divided into two conferences. The top four teams in each conference meet in a series of playoffs, and conference champions slam it out for the world championship in the Biker Bowl.
Ooh, biker bowl. Okay, you know what? That's not bad. Okay,
That's not
now,
bad.
now, is the arena bowl shaped like a banked
Like
track
a
roller
like a
derby
bowl.
scenario? Like a.
Well, here we go. The arena.
Okay,
The Combat Biker Arena is played on a football sized field about 150 meters long by 50 meters wide.
okay.
The arena is designed as a maze divided into lanes. Some
Mm,
lanes are wide enough to let 3 or 4 bikes ride side by side, others are barely wide enough for one cycle to squeak through. A track called a skyway runs over the middle of the field. It is about a story high, no safety railing, and some folks call it the launch pad. At the
okay.
end of the field is a 2-meter goal circle. Within limits, each combat biker franchise can design its own arena layout and can change it during the off season. But the WCCL has final approval on all those designs. So the
Mm-hmm.
mazes can be different for the lanes, but the rest of the arena is relatively the same. So I would imagine you would get some bowl shape for the stands so that the crowd could
Mm-hmm.
be able to see accurately down into the maze to watch the action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, Biker Bowl is an apt name.
Finally.
I know you were let down in the Urban Brawl episode.
I just want the name to match what we're doing here. Naming conventions are important.
That's true. Well, shall we get to know the two conferences?
Yes, what do we got?
We've got the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
In the Eastern Conference, we've got the Atlanta Rebels, the Baton Rouge Red Devils. Glad to see that the team that started is still
Still
in
going
it.
strong. Yeah.
Still going.
So that's definitely the team that's owned by I can't remember what's the
Vernon?
Vernon. That's definitely Vernon's franchise, right? Like
I hope so.
it's
I hope
gotta be,
so.
man. It's gotta be. All right,
Uh,
Vernon's doing good then. I'm happy. I'm
we've
glad.
got the Chicago Lightning,
The riverboat lives. Chicago Lightning, not bad. I like it. Okay.
Cleveland Commandos.
Yeah, all right.
This one's weird. DC Shurikens.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's all I
I,
got for that one.
I not what I would have put together, but you know what? Sure, why not?
When I
Why
think
not?
when I think Washington D.C., I think ninjas.
Well, I mean, corrupt politicians, ninjas, you know. And finally, rounding out the Eastern Conference, we have the New York Marauders.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Feel like they could have done a little bit better on that one, but yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, if it's any consolation for the sake of this discussion,
Hmm.
Washington does currently have DC currently has a professional basketball team in the NBA that
Hmm.
is called the Washington Wizards.
Yes, I know.
So,
So okay, that's fair.
not the weirdest thing that, you know.
The other conference would be the Western Conference. Let's meet the teams from the West.
Mhm.
We've got the Los Angeles Sabres, the New Orleans Buzzsaws.
Wait, why is New Orleans in the Western Conference and Baton Rouge is in the Eastern
I
Conference?
don't know.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know.
All right. I just wanted to bring that up because that seems off, but okay, fair
It
enough.
seems like it should be switched, right?
I guess.
I don't know. The Houston Mustangs.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Oh, here we go. Good old Oakland, of course, has a team. The
Uh-huh.
Oakland Hogs.
The Oakland Hogs. Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, I get a motorcycle is a hog. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, I guess
yeah,
that checks
yeah.
out. Also, New Orleans is way more east than Baton Rouge is. What are
I
we doing
know. I
here?
don't know.
What is happening?
Seattle has their team in the Western Conference. They're the Seattle Timberwolves.
Oh, okay, yeah, that checks out.
And then apparently Texas needs another team
Hey, man,
in the Western Conference. Sure.
always.
And they're the Texas Rattlers.
Yeah, all right. That's not bad.
Again, I some names could use some work,
They could use a little work. They could use a little work. All right,
and
so
I
uh-huh.
think we need to switch New Orleans and Baton Rouge in conferences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so once again, it's time for our proposition.
Mm-hmm.
If me and you were to make franchises for the combat biking based on the states that we'd like to see represented,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what would be the name that we would have to go with for the teams? So
Ooh.
me,
Are you going East Conference or West Conference?
well, I'm going West Conference because
Okay.
my team will be an Arizona team.
Okay, then I will take East Conference because I think my team will be a Pittsburgh team.
Okay, okay, not bad. So I'm thinking, so there's we have oh, let me, I need to look it up again real quick. I believe um we have a, oh, it's we have a minor league hockey team
Mm-hmm.
for Tucson that is, or no, sorry, it's a minor league or not minor league. Yeah, I'm getting all over the place. Let me start that again. We
Okay.
have we have a indoor football team.
Ah.
We have two here in Arizona. One of them based out of Tucson, and the other one is up here in Phoenix. The one in Phoenix is the Rattlers, which is, that's like our big team. But the new team that got introduced with Tucson is the
Mm-hmm.
Tucson Sugar Skulls.
Oh,
And their logo is like a mariachi skull with like crossed
nice.
guitars, like a skull and crossbones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty sick. So I think that implementing something like that into the team would be kind of cool. Like
That
like
is pretty cool.
having a team of bikers that come out and their gear is all like neoned out like a skeleton pattern on their outfits
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to help with it. But I don't know. See, that's, I think the Arizona Muerte, that'd be kind of cool. I'd be all right with
Dang, that's
that.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
all right. Mine might sound a little on the nose.
Uh-huh.
I'm going with the Pittsburgh Pit Fiends.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like it.
Right? Then you get the whole devil motif and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the wings coming off the helmets.
They have that extra afterburner in the exhaust, so when they rev it up, it shoots
Mm-hmm.
fire out of the exhaust, out of the tailpipes.
Yeah. See, now
Yeah.
you're getting it. Mm-hmm.
For
That's
a
what I'm
second,
saying.
I thought you were gonna say the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's never been done before.
Never been done. I never heard of them. I don't know what
Never,
you're talking about.
never replicated.
Never, ever, ever, ever.
That would be sick, though. I like the Pittsburgh Pit Fiends. That's a good one. All
Hell
right,
yeah.
so we've got the new Eastern Conference team, the Pittsburgh Pit Fiends, and the Western Conference Arizona Muerte.
And the
Uh,
conferences are already just so lightly populated. I feel like we could just sub them in. We don't need
oh
to
yeah,
replace anybody. Yeah.
no, we can add them in. That's another two teams that makes it easier for keeping everything
Mm-hmm.
even on playoffs and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Easy to do. And if anybody has any suggestions for their own teams that they would
Oh,
like to submit,
please,
where could they
please let us
comment
know.
that, Easy? Where could they
Oh,
throw those names in at?
you could throw those names over into either our Discord conversation that we have for the Shadowrun on Empty podcast, or if you become a patron and want to throw your comments or questions into our next Worm Talk. Just saying,
It's not a bad idea there, Easy. It's not a
not a
bad
bad idea,
idea.
right? Yeah, it's pretty good.
So with the team setups that they have, what is
Mhm.
like a season composition? Like how many games do they play to get to the Biker Bowl? Is that what it was called?
Yeah,
Is that
Biker Bowl.
okay, the Biker Bowl.
I would assume that it's set up. Um, it's actually set up a little easier than what we're used to for playoff games and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was saying the top 4 out of the conference go into a playoffs, right? So each team has to play each other once in their conference at least.
Okay.
And then the top 4 from the conference will go into a playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
from there, out of your top out of your top 4,
Mm-hmm.
you'd work it down to
The
2.
top two, which would be the probably the semifinals for
Mhm.
each region,
Each
Western
region.
Conference, Eastern
Yep.
Conference,
Yep. Then they
and
play off, and then you go to
the
the Biker
Biker
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah.
I would have to imagine that for a thing like combat biking, it's probably not a big season though. Like overall, like I don't think that
No, I
they're
wouldn't
I
think
don't
that it is.
I don't think that they're rocking like an NHL or an MLB schedule where it's like 150 plus games in a season.
No. Well,
Like
yeah, where they have like you have to play 4 games in the playoffs and everything. And
yeah,
no, this one's very straightforward,
I mean,
especially for how deadly it can be. And I would think that it's straightforward like that because of the costs that are involved. Like we said, maintaining the bikes, maintaining the armor, medical expenses, everything like this, you have to factor in. So you
yeah,
can't necessarily drag out a conference.
right.
It's just
I
not
mean,
gonna work.
the NFL only has a 17 game season, so
Mm,
like I feel like that's probably like I would say like maybe like 10 to 15 for the normal season,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and then you go to the playoffs from there because if you're gonna do like a double elimination or something, then it's probably gonna take a little bit longer than a standard playoff would. So
Right.
I could see that, but yeah, I would have to imagine that it would only be like 10, 15 matches a year
Mm-hmm.
most.
Well, let's take a look at how the team's composition is set up.
Mm-hmm.
A combat biker team fields the following 9 positions, with 8 team members on bikes and 1 on foot.
That is more than I expected. I was thinking it was going to be like 6-man teams, maybe
Nope, we
5
got
to 6. Okay,
got
9
9
guys.
got 9 guys.
Let's
9
go.
guys, 9 guys, 1 on foot.
Yeah, I'm interested. Save the on foot for last because that's the one I am most interested in for sure.
I will. I will.
All
All
right.
right. So, first off, we've got our line bikers. Line bikers are the hand-to-hand guys mounted on fast, unarmored cycles. They are usually armed with maces and riot guns. Each line biker gets his choice of an additional weapon that is either a flail, a net, a whip, or a bola. A team has 4 line bikers.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Next, you have your lance bikers. Lance bikers are mounted on heavy machines, big on power, low on maneuverability. Each carries a 2-meter lance,
Jesus.
a mace, and a riot gun. Each team fields 4 lancers.
Okay, well, so that's a majority of the team comp there. All right, that makes sense. Whew.
There's also a thunder biker. There's only
Okay.
one of these on each side.
Uh-huh.
A thunder biker is armed with a fixed mount grenade launcher
Thick.
on a light cycle and an assortment of boom boom.
An assortment of boom boom?
Yeah, anything that goes boom.
Is that the official
That's the
terminology?
official terminology.
I love it.
He also carries a mace.
Uh-huh. Because, it takes a while to reload sometimes.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Are you ready for our on foot?
Who's the on foot? Who's the brave soul that says, I don't need a bike in combat biking? That's for squares.
The goalie.
Oh, well, okay. That actually kind of makes sense. That kind of checks out.
Armored like a tank and moving on foot, the
Uh-huh.
goalie carries an auto shot riot carbine,
Thick.
a mace, and a little thing called a tetsubo.
Okay.
For those at home that don't know, it's a not super, it's a very large, heavy Japanese quarterstaff.
Yes, okay.
Shaped like a sawed-off lamppost and covered with big studs.
Oh my god.
That is a tetsubo.
Jesus. Also, I think that saying the phrase moving is generous because I can only imagine the armor that they're rocking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they're moving very fast,
Well,
if at all.
especially when your lance bikers have 2-meter lances.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. Holy shit.
Taking jousting to a whole new level, man.
Dude, like I want to see what the mounting rigs look like on the side of the bikes for them to be able to just use those suckers.
Seriously. Either that or
Jeez,
you've got to be a big, heavy troll with cyber arms to hold it in place.
right? Oh man. Okay,
When
so
a
yeah,
goalie
yeah.
lays a Tetsubo shot across the middle of a biker moving at full speed, the audience usually gets to see how much guts the biker really has.
Yeah, they die. That's the answer to that. They die. Oh man. Okay, so
Each team only fields one goalie, obviously, and his playing position is the goal.
speaking of that, how do you score points in this game? Because I don't know why you would want to go anywhere near that person.
Absolutely. Let's go to playing the game. Ahem. Combat bikes use a flag, an actual flag, on a lightweight pole 180 centimeters long. The flagpole has a weighted hemispherical base, and if dropped, will always roll into an upright position. The object of the game is to do a flag snag and then get the flag into the opposing side's goal zone.
Okay.
Flag snag is like the kickoff in football. The flag starts in the center of the middle lane on the field. Actually, I don't think it would be like football.
No, it'd be
I
more
feel
like
it'd be like
rugby
it'd be more like rugby or
or like dodgeball.
dodgeball. Yeah,
Yeah.
dodgeball. I think
Okay.
dodgeball is more apt.
Okay.
So it starts in the middle of the lane on the field, mounted on a high speed bogey, a drone on wheels that whizzes around like crazy.
So it's the snitch.
Yeah. The line biker's job is to snag the flag. Until one team gets possession and goes on offense, the Lancers and Thunder Biker have to stay out of play and in their starting positions. Once the flag is snagged, all bets are off.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh. That makes sense.
A play in Combat Biker ends when a goal is scored or when the clock runs out. On
Okay.
each play, a random timer is set and runs for 30 to 60 seconds. Every play runs for 30 seconds minimum, leaving anywhere up to 30 more seconds on the clock. The random time part of the play is called jitter time because the clock can run out anytime and thus affect the score. There are 10 minutes of playing time to a quarter. The clock stops between plays for reloading, sending in replacements, and replacing cycles. To actually score a goal, planting the flag in the opposition's goal counts for 3 points. Only a mounted player can score a goal. A dismounted player can carry the flag, but if the dismounted player plants it in the goal zone, it doesn't count. If, when the clock runs out of play, the offensive team, the one that's in possession of the flag, is in the defense's territory, they score 1 point. If the offensive team is in its own territory, the defense scores 1 point. This counts whether the flag carrier is mounted or not.
Interesting.
If the bogey carries the flag into one team's territory during flag snag, and for some reason the flag is still not snagged when the time runs out, the opposing team scores a point.
Huh.
If the flag is not in either team's possession when the clock runs out, the point is given to the last team to take possession. So, if a Seattle Timberwolves player carrying the flag gets blown away deep in Timberwolves territory, the Wolves are going to scramble to get that flag into the opposing team's half of the track. The opposing team may try to get the flag and press for a goal, or may simply fight to keep the Timberwolves from getting it, since they'll score if the flag is still in the Wolves' territory when the clock runs out.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that is the basic rules for the game and how scoring is done.
Okay.
So, the weapons actually are specific, the types of weapons that they can use. While the weapons weights and configuration for Combat Biker have gotten nastier over the years, obviously, because remember, they started out with padded weapons and then not padded and not paintballs, but riot guns.
Yeah, right.
They are still technically non-lethal. You just unfortunately have to factor in speed.
Yeah, right.
Fatalities average about 8 per season from direct weapon strikes.
Good old it's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop.
As opposed to the much higher figure for deaths from cycle wipeouts. All deaths are hyped as regrettable accidents by league officials.
Cost of doing business.
It is the cost of being a combat biker. So it talks about each weapon here for the game. We've got the flail, which isn't like a traditional flail where it uses chain to connect onto it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a haft that's connected with a cable. And
Okay.
that the ball that's on the cable is a densoplast mace. So it's like hardened plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on the end of the cable. For your lance, so you can know exactly how hefty this thing is, it's 2 meters long and 5 centimeters thick with a blunt point, and this lance can be used as a staff or like an old-time knight's lance at up to 100 kilometers per hour.
Oh,
Even though it's not pointed, it's blunted on the end. That's still gotta pierce somebody, right?
that's gonna just death. It's all like that's it. It's just death. That's just death waiting to happen.
Just about everybody on the combat biking team has a mace, and these things are heavy. It's a 750 gram densoplast ball that's on the end of this shaft. And that constitutes what their mace is.
Ugh. And again, it doesn't matter how safe you try to make it. This
I like that they
is
try and say it's just densoplast, like really dense plastic. That's all. This would be fine. Buy your at-home combat biking kit today.
Yeah, right. When my child grows up, they want to be a combat biker because they don't value their existence as a human being.
Of course, you can have a whip as well. Remember, the line bikers can carry a whip.
Yes.
It is a 2-meter bullwhip of reinforced polycarbonate filament. Besides using it as a long-distance entangling weapon, that a lot of line bikers are fond of, a move called the Slammy's Swoop, or the Gemini. It's when two bikers each grab an end of the whip and barrel down the lane, clotheslining anyone in the way. Oh man, looks like they're doing the Gemini. In addition to the weapon attacks, any kind of unarmed attack is legal, including a flying block, a body block thrown at a mounted player whenever the attacker starts out on the bike or on foot.
Oh my
So you
god.
can just try and tackle somebody off their bike.
Yeah, just fuck it.
And of course, the goalie is the only one that has the auto shot riot carbine, which is an auto fire gun firing these riot bullets. It is the goalie's answer for when the fans start yelling for defense, defense, defense. The goalie has a 20-round magazine of stun ammo at the start of each play. And smart gun links are standard for all big league goalies. So your goalie's got smart link on and is just going for those headshots.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. Oh, we can't forget the grenade launcher. I almost forgot. The Thunder Biker gets 3 concussion grenades each play.
Okay.
Not each round, each play.
A play being until somebody scores a goal.
Well, the play is the 30 seconds minimum.
Oh,
Remember?
okay. Yes.
So he gets 3 concussion grenades each play.
Jesus. So it's like as soon as it starts and everybody's rushing for the flag, you just unleash all 3 of them, right? Like
you just drop rain concussion grenades. Why would you can't until someone grabs the flag, till somebody flag snatches. And once they do, unleash hell.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. How about the armor for these guys? Goalies obviously wear the densest armor that is almost the same as what you'll see in some heavy security armor.
Okay.
So they've got the thick, dense chest plate, greaves, helmet, and the shoulder pads.
Is it similar to the armor that was worn by what's his name? The guy that we had go with us into the underwater lab?
Abacus.
Abacus, yeah. Is that like what he was rocking? Okay.
Yes, the security armor. That's what he was rocking.
Okay, cool.
That's what the goalies get to wear.
Jesus.
Everyone else wears lighter stuff.
I feel like, ironically, the goalie is the safest position in
Right?
combat biking. Like
they get
the most armor. They don't have to worry about getting knocked off of a bike at fucking 200 miles an hour. Like, and they get to be like the most destructive force on the field as soon as anybody approaches it. Like, yeah.
Armor is
Jeez.
manufactured in both a home and away color. And
Okay.
all helmets have a distinctive team logo look. So, for example, the Baton Rouge Red Devils have their helmets done up like the classic devil heads with horns, fangs, and painted red.
Thick. Okay. Not bad.
So that means that your Timberwolves will probably have wolf heads. Your Rattlers have like viper heads, I guess, viper helmets.
Uh-huh.
I'm really curious. What do you think the Atlanta Rebels are rocking?
Oh, I don't want to say.
I got, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. They're definitely rocking the COS flag.
Oh, brother.
Brother.
Oh man, yeah. I would
Um.
imagine that they probably also have like all gray uniforms, like yeah.
I see where you're
Mm-hmm.
going with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what do the DC Shurikens helmets look like?
I mean, I feel like the easy go-to is it's just like a black helmet with like a red headband, right? Like,
Just traditional ninja.
yeah, yeah.
They would look like the Foot from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles.
exactly.
Oh man. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, we've got how the game works. We have their equipment. Oh, their bikes. Can't forget the
Uh-huh.
bikes. It's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
So your line bikers are rocking those Yamaha Rapiers or an
Ooh.
equivalent. So you want the fast
Uh-huh.
bikes.
Uh-huh.
Your Lance bikers are usually rocking those Harley Scorpions. So they're the lower set, heavier bikes. The Thunder biker is also going with a Rapier class bike, just modified to have that mounted grenade launcher.
Right.
Riggers can play this game, obviously. Vehicles can be modified to accept vehicle control rigs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's actually a pretty sought out rule as opposed to other major league sports that involve racing where they don't allow you to vehicle rig.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helpful.
You gotta keep it fair somehow.
Obviously in the helmets, all helmets have two-way radios so you can speak to the rest of your teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And each uniform is equipped with an emergency biotech patch under a
Mm.
rip-away shield.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling off the shield automatically activates a trauma patch.
Oh, okay. So they do have like emergency contingency in place in some way.
Yes, yes.
I always think of my favorite interpretation of that is from the live action Speed Racer movie,
Mm-hmm.
where when the car gets destroyed, they just get engulfed in a circle of bouncy bubble foam.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah. So I've always like it's always been like a well, if you have a death sport, you have to have like an emergency protocol, right? Like
Yeah, I would think so. Most death sports should have built-in emergency protocols.
right.
So you can't have a game without rules. So let's talk about what the fouls are in this game.
I'm surprised that there is any.
There aren't many.
Okay.
Players tagged for a foul are called out of play and must pull into one of a number of shelters built into the barriers that form the playing lanes.
Okay.
Cut-out circuits mounted on the cycle engines let the officials kill any bike on the field, which is the standard response when a player doesn't obey an order to get their bike off the lanes. 3 fouls by one side in a single play ends the play and gives the opposing side 1 point. A player can be kicked out of a game for a really outrageous foul. When a player is kicked out, the play ends and the opposing team scores a point. A replacement is sent in on the next play. Here are the 5 rules. 5 fouls are all that exist in combat biking.
Uh-huh.
Oh no,
Okay.
I'm sorry. 4. It's just 4.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that makes
miscounted.
geez. I was gonna say 5. Why even play it at that point?
I know, jeez. Here are your 4 rules. Deliberate release of the flag. Dropping the flag on purpose is a foul. The player who does it is kicked out of the game, and the opposing team scores 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Ramming a dismounted player.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Deliberately ramming of a dismounted player. Awful lot of accidental sideswiping goes on, but
Uh-huh.
if
Uh-huh.
you get called for intentionally ramming, this does not extend to the goalie, who is fair game for ramming.
Okay.
But anybody else, you'll get called a foul for intentional ramming.
Uh-huh.
Riding over an unconscious or disabled player.
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
The way this gets enforced, maybe the rules should add more than once, or maybe backing up and doing it again. And finally, the use of an unauthorized weapon. A player cannot use any weapons but the ones authorized for his position. Picking up authorized weapons dropped or discarded by another player is allowed, including riot guns after a player has fired his 3 rounds for the play. But if you're a line biker and try to pick up a lance, that is no good. You will get a foul.
Okay.
And those are your rules. That's it. Everything else goes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I like that they at least put out the air of trying to avoid casualty as much as possible. But like what's the actual penalty for a foul in it? You know, like if somebody gets knocked off the bike by a lancer and then another person comes and hits him with the bike and
Uh-huh.
then that dude dies, is that
Uh-huh.
just like 2 minutes in the penalty box or
No, you get a foul called on you, and you get called off the lane, right?
uh-huh.
Because you got the foul.
Uh-huh.
And then you just gotta wait for
Okay.
however long you're penalized, like in hockey. You get a penalty
Uh-huh.
box,
Uh-huh.
and
So you get
you just wait.
so 2-minute penalty for murder. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
Two
that's
minute
cool.
penalty for
Okay,
murder. Yeah.
cool. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
sweet.
You yeah, I like that the only way that you get kicked out of the game is deliberately dropping the flag.
Yeah, right? Like
That's the only way you deliberately get booted from the game. Not intentional ramming, not running over the unconscious people, or not the
Jesus.
use of an unauthorized weapon.
Yeah, right.
Nope, you just get penalties for that. But you drop that flag, you're out of here.
Getting ejected aggressively.
Oh my god. Now that gives whole new meaning to that sky lane with the no railing.
Yeah, right?
I mean, imagine being up there with your Thunder Biker and you're just raining concussion grenades.
Hey, you're raining your 3 concussion grenades. All right, let's be fair.
Do you really need more than 3 every 30 seconds?
Depends on your aim.
I guess that is a question. That is a question. That is combat biking. That's the rules and the league and everything. Combat biking does actually catch on a little bit more in the European leagues as opposed to the American league.
Okay.
And they do have a European league and an American league, but they don't have an international cup.
Interesting.
I don't know why. You'd think that they would. Maybe in the latest edition of books that have come out, there's been an update, but as of right now, with everything that I have seen, there is not an international cup. You can correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, listeners, if you find out, let us know. But everything that I've looked up so far,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got nothing for an international. I think there should be.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that it hasn't, considering how much Urban Brawl did, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, considering that this is a sport that was started off of the backs of a bunch of people living in Baton Rouge, like
Mm-hmm.
it is a distinctly American prospect, you know, like
Right?
it is a very American. It's the reason why American football has never really been adopted as an international. I mean, like there are, but it's nowhere near the scale of the NFL, you know, like
Right, right.
it's a very distinctly American type of sporting event, it feels like.
So now knowing the rules and how combat biking got started and knowing the rules and everything for Urban Brawl,
Mhm.
which one do you think is more, I don't know, more sixth world, or does that, now knowing combat biking, does that change your opinion of Urban Brawl at all
No,
or
I mean,
anything like that?
to be fair, they both kind of feel like they're not even necessarily just distinctly sixth world. They feel like they could happen fucking tomorrow, dude. Like Urban Brawl and combat biking both feel like things that we could see. Like if Vince McMahon hadn't failed twice on the XFL at this point,
Hmm. I think
Urban
that would
Brawl
be
would
Urban
be
Brawl.
next. Urban Brawl would absolutely have been the next step that we get to. So like yeah, like neither of them are in a weird way, neither of them feel like exclusively sixth world
Uh-huh.
in so much as that it feels like they could just happen at any point that we have. But I will
Yeah.
say, of personal preferences, I think that I would probably be more into Urban Brawl than I would with combat biking.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just because Urban Brawl just seems super dope.
I feel like you're right in that we could see them really early on, especially if you go for the more subdued versions
Mhm,
of them. Like
mhm,
instead of riot guns firing rubber bullets and shell rounds, you got paintballs, right?
mhm, mhm.
And you stick with the heavy padded weapons and
Yeah,
then armor. I think you could see both of these sports as a thing.
yeah,
I mean, obviously there'd have to be some more rules involved with combat biking.
yeah, right. Yeah, that the combat biking I feel like is a little bit harder to swing than
Uh,
Urban Brawl is.
yes, yes. Combat
Yeah.
biking would need to definitely has some reworks, but I could see it done with something like dirt bikes and paintball guns and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think at that point, combat biking would probably become more like a motorbike polo than
mhm.
it would be like an actual combat sport.
Yes,
Like you
yes.
just have teams on dirt bikes, you have like an obstacle track set up for them to go through, and
Mhm,
then you just have them grab a thing and try to score a goal, and still
mhm.
have the goalie be off of a bike. I still think that that would
Oh
be
yeah, yeah, definitely,
the
definitely.
better way to do it. But I feel like that would be the closest that we would get at this point to combat biking.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
And
definitely see urban brawl as more of a sport that emerges that gives you like a true combat sport
and
with
to be honest, I would watch that version of combat biking. That still sounds like it would be entertaining
right?
as hell.
It's
So yeah.
still, yeah. So see, look at this. We've got three sports now that we could get going. We've got the balloon hit,
Yep.
right?
Uh-huh.
We have our version of now not even combat biking, maybe biking polo?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Polo biking? I don't know.
We'll
We'll workshop the name.
we're gonna workshop the name. Yeah, yeah, we can come up with something better than that for sure. Yeah.
And urban brawl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Indoor. I still think indoor
Indoor.
urban
Yeah,
brawl is yeah.
arena urban brawl.
Yeah,
Arena
arena
urban.
urban brawl.
Yeah, yeah,
AUB.
because then you get the glass shielding like you would a hockey arena, so that you can do the paintballing and everything,
Yep.
and not worry about hitting the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, man, let's call up Vince McMahon. Let's get some of these all set and squared away.
Let's maybe not call Vince McMahon. I don't know if you followed the news over the last year with Vince McMahon, but maybe let's not do that. Maybe let's call someone. You know what? We'll call Tony Khan. He's the
Okay,
guy.
there we go. There we go.
He's the guy that owns AEW. We'll call Tony
Yes.
Khan. His dad is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sure that they're looking for new sports expansions.
Yes. You know where else I think you could get these sports started
Mm,
pretty easily too?
the South.
Besides besides the South, where one of them was even
Where
officially
one of them
birthed.
actually originated. Yeah.
Oh, good call. Besides there, I really think that you could probably get these going in Japan. With the
Yeah,
crazy stuff that they do over there, like the
I
Wipeout show started from
see.
there and everything.
I could
So
see Urban Brawl. I don't know
Mhm.
that they would be as interested in our motorbike polo, though. To be honest, again,
Really,
like,
they
yeah,
have a
motor.
lot of like biking gangs over there, like Yakuza and
Well,
everything.
but then we have to actually make the combat biking, because then it's actually just gonna be go gangs that want to go do this.
Well, I'm not saying that the ratings wouldn't be there.
Of the two, what is your preference of Urban Brawl and combat biking? Which do you think you would be a bigger fan of?
I would probably still be a bigger fan of Urban Brawl.
Yeah, I
I,
just
I
it
might catch the occasional combat bike game,
yeah.
but I feel like I'd be more invested in Urban Brawl.
Yeah, I feel like that's I'm in the same boat with you on that one. I think that would be the case.
You also have to think of, I mean, the franchising off of Urban Brawl. You could even set up Fantasy Urban Brawl.
That's very true. It's a lot
Build your
harder.
fantasy team.
It would be a lot harder to do fantasy combat biking, to be
Oh,
honest.
the injuries alone.
Like that would just be a nightmare. So I get 2 points if somebody gets knocked off with a lance, 3 points if they die. Like, -2 points because he ran over that guy that got debiked this week. Like, yeah. Oh my
They get a
god.
penalty. Yeah, it'd be far too complicated. Whereas with Urban Brawl, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I gotta stick with Urban Brawl.
Yeah.
I know that at least one other of our players in Sinless, um, uh, Amazing,
Uh-huh.
really enjoys combat biking,
Oh, okay.
and now he'll know even more of the rules when he listens to this.
There
You're
we
welcome.
go.
You're welcome,
Eh,
Amazing. You'll have to
we
let
just
us know if it's changed your mind and you're still a proponent of combat biking, or you want to switch over and join us on Urban Brawl.
come join the Urban Brawl League.
It is so good.
We
And
meet on
listeners,
Tuesdays.
let us know what you think. Are you Urban Brawl or are you combat biking?
Yes, please do. And
Please do.
what would be your preferred team to root
Yes.
for
Let
either
us
sport?
know. Let us know what your team would be that you would root for. Let us know if you would root for our made up teams.
Yes. Let's go Arizona Muertes.
Let's go, Pit Fiends. Ah!
uh
Well, guys, that's all I have for this sports lore episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've definitely gotten a lot out of it. Doing the research, finding out where it started. That was fun.
yeah. I
Yeah.
have enjoyed it. Combat biking was fun to talk about. I've enjoyed these sports discussions
Right?
episodes that we've done. It's a good time.
Sporting in the sixth world. It's an interesting thing.
It is.
All right, you guys. We will look forward to giving you some more juicy lore on the next one. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. is granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.